Holy effing bananas. It is cold. It's like, I think it's like 15 degrees Fahrenheit here. I was going to ghost y'all this week and just not post a video. I'm at the tail end of my trip to America. I'm back at the library where I shot a video a few weeks ago, and it's so cold out here. I'm so cold. As I said, I was thinking about ghosting y'all today and just not posting a video because I don't really have a coherent topic to speak to today. And I sat with that for a little while, and then I thought, why don't you just lower your standards and shoot a bad video? And so that's what I've decided to do. Here we go. It's not just that it's cold, man. There's a wind, and it's slapping me consistently and mercilessly, just slapping my face like I'm lying passed out on the floor and someone's trying to bring me to life. That's what this wind feels like. Woo! It's brisk, baby. Back outside again. After experiencing some library warmth, ain't no warmth like the warmth of a building that is insulated by layers and layers of books. Love me some library warmth. Well, folks, perhaps today I'm having trouble finding a coherent topic upon which I can speak with some spiritual authority because I'm having a small, almost comical spiritual crisis. And I'll tell you why when I get back down by the rushing, crashing water. Or maybe I'll start now. Hey, this is Hartford. It's a very nice little town. I'm just going to give you a view of it here. There's the mine shaft over there. There's some restaurants. It's a nice, cozy little town. And I spent some time in it last week with my, let's say, friend's daughter. And she and my sister sat down, and we really got to talking. And she gave me an interesting perspective on what it means to be a human now for the young generation. So, my friend, her father, is, he's anxious. He's an anxious personality, and as a result of that anxiety, he's always sending me, I'm sorry if I'm shouting, I'm back here. As a result of that, I feel like you're sitting here on this park bench with me, and I'm having a chat with a good friend, only I'm a lunatic shouting into a rectangular phone. Okay, sorry. Okay, so listen. My friend has a lot of anxiety. As a result, he is constantly emailing me and WhatsApping me links to political basically, I'm sorry I have to say it, paranoid political videos, okay? Political articles. My friend's daughter, whom I got to talk with, had an interesting perspective on this. Now, I had always thought that my friend was just a little bit crazy, frankly. And there was a hint of judgment in my approach. And sometimes I get that. I spent time at a monastery. I cut a chunk of my human, I hate shouting when people walk by. Anyways, I cut a chunk of my human life out to devote it to a serious spiritual practice. And like anyone who has done that, I'm an arrogant bastard. We're all arrogant bastards. Very humble too in some ways, the people I know that have done this, but we're also arrogant bastards. And we interpret the world around us and the people in that world through this spiritual lens. the lens of someone who practiced and who learned principles and lived them in a spiritual environment, a monastery in my case. And so I look at my friend, and a lot of the time compassion burbles up for him, but a lot of the time also judgment burbles up. And I was talking to my friend's daughter, and my friend's daughter said, I have anxiety. And she said, my grandfather has anxiety, my father has anxiety, and I have anxiety. She said, I also have ADHD. And she said, I think my dad has ADHD, and I think probably my granddad has ADHD. And as she was talking about the various psychiatric paths she's taken to mitigate what she's defined as her handicap, judgment burbled up in me, and I thought, oh, this is her generation. The Zoomers medicalize everything, But also a part of me was watching her and realizing that this is how life works. Her grandfather is very religious. He's a Catholic man, and he spent his whole life. Oh my God, it's cold. My fingers are numb. He spent his whole life praying and channeling his anxieties through his Catholicism. And then my friend adopted a more broad sort of Buddhist / Vedantic / New Age approach / political / paranoid conspiratorial approach to life. And now his daughter has a new way. And she's simply said, I have anxiety and I have a really hard time to focus and concentrate. So I'm going to get medication and I'm going to get a therapist. And that has taken the place really of a strong, consistent, spiritual approach to life. The approach that her father took and her grandfather, and the approach that I took. And she spoke so confidently, humbly, and also compassionately, and matter-of-factly and down-to-earthly about her father and her grandfather. And it made me think, maybe she's onto something. Maybe this medicalization of conditions that the younger generation does is a way of managing, I don't want to say practicing, but managing their suffering. And I always judged my friend's father kind of harshly. I thought he was an anal, retentive, angry, judgmental Catholic man. But she says, no, he was just using it. He was just anxious. And she says the same thing of her father. He's just got anxiety. And when she said that, something shifted in me. And it made me a little bit sad. It made me wonder if I'm like the guy who's out of step with everything, who wastes his whole life on a spiritual practice, when really maybe I too just had some anxiety and maybe some ADHD and maybe some other conditions that, due to advances in neurology and psychiatry, can be managed and thought of differently now. So I just thought, I'm sitting with the passage of human suffering from one generation to the next, and how each generation devotes so much time, effort, and energy into living as best they can with whatever their particular malady is, given the tools that the time offers. Her grandfather, all he had was his Catholicism. My friend has a more open-minded version of religion that includes Buddhism and some Hindu practices, And then I went off to a monastery for 13 years. But she says very calmly and logically, I have a condition, I'm managing it with a little bit of medication and some psychiatry, and actually I feel pretty good. Seeing that Zen rock now, as I went into the library to warm up, I was humbly reminded of a few things. One of which is Zen practice is not a tool, and whenever I approach it with an acquisitive mindset, I always find that there is a better mindset out there that will help me acquire something better. So, if my desire is for fixing myself and getting some mental health and controlling my anxiety and etc., that's my goal through Zen practice, well, I'm going to be able to find a better system out there to do that, i.e. the one that my friend's daughter found, modern psychiatry, arguably. So, if my goal is acquisition of goods, luck, so that I can find the right job, so that I can make some money, I will probably do better if I adopt a really ambitious Machiavellian mindset as opposed to a mindset indicated by, say, The Secret, which is a spiritual system designed to draw luck and good fortune toward you. There's that saying that Zazen is good for nothing, and it's a very deep and a little bit provocative statement, but it's very important. And we could maybe, one of the things I'm reminded of again coming home is that Buddhism itself is perhaps good for nothing. Wisdom is good for nothing. It stands by itself as a way of life, and not as a means to an end. That's Buddhism. That's Zen. I keep leaving to go in and to warm up and think of something to say, and my bench keeps being free when I come back because it's cold. Have I mentioned that? I was really fortunate to be able to spend some time with my girlfriend and my sister and her husband in Dork County, which is this neat little city in northern Wisconsin past Green Bay. And my sister and her husband and my mother got a little property there. You can see it's on the water, and there's some beautiful hikes through the woods and along Lake Michigan. And one thing that I was really struck by on these hikes is this certain species of trees, and they hug the cliffside, right? And you can see them. They're kind of half, almost falling off the cliff, and they're in this state of suspended solidness almost, and this state of strange growth, right? And they're doing what trees do, but they're having a very strange journey as a tree because their roots are in strange soil that's right at the edge of the cliff. And so these trees take very strange shapes. One of them was really cool. It like grew up and then it kind of tore out of the ground a little bit, and then it grew downward, and then it began to grow back up. We are like these trees. We take very, very strange shapes as we grow. That's what a human being is. Each human being, just like these trees, is singular. And it's growing in a very singular shape. And I think as we go through our lives and we try and nurture ourselves and grow into our unique and singular shapes, we kind of forget that we're just a tree, like all the other trees, and we're just growing in a great big forest of trees, and that we have a context. We mistake ourselves for the shape we've taken in this incarnation, if you will. For me, what a Buddhist or a Zen practice does is it allows me to see the shape for what it is. Because most of the time, I am totally dazzled by the human condition and my role within my family and society, and I am reaching for the things that I want and pushing away the things that I don't want, and I'm struggling like those trees on the mountainside to grow into my own unique shape without tearing out of the soil, right? And every once in a while, the practice of Buddhism and Zen can allow me to see the bigger picture of what I'm a part of, and whether or not, the tree to the right of me is using Catholicism, and the tree to the left of me is using New Age Vedantic Buddhism, and the tree in front of me, the next generation, is using a little bit of medication and a therapist. We're all growing in our own unique and special shapes. Just to glimpse that fact and to glimpse the bigger picture, it can still my anxious energy. And that is a way I have, as a Zen practitioner, of hitting the reset button. And that's just a bit of what Zen is for me, I suppose. Maybe not in an instrumentalist sense, but something that I've devoted myself to. Doing nothing. Dropping all my dreams, ambitions, hopes, letting go of the shape of myself and my life, and not seeing the forest for the trees, but seeing the tree, my own shape, and the shape of the people around me within the context of each other and the wider forest, and our place here on this strange American continent, and on this planet, and in this lifetime. We're just kind of passing through. And only Zen allows me that kind of perspective, and that's a spiritual perspective. And the older I get, and the longer I practice, the more I start to realize just how peculiar the spiritual position is in our day and age, which is so totally devoted to what things are, identity, shape, culture, politics, status, health. Everybody's so obsessed with health here in the States, mental and physical, and I find myself thinking, well, when you get really healthy, then what, baby? What's it all about? Who are we? What are we here for? Therein lies the beauty of a spiritual practice. Taking 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes out of your busy day of admiring your shape and trying to continue to grow more into that shape, like those strange, beautiful trees, and just sitting. Being in the forest as it is. Friends, I tried. I really tried. But that's all I got, is some sort of half-assed tree metaphor. I'm going to go and warm up. thank you so much. If you are feeling generous and you'd like to support this channel, you can go to patreon.com/showsonjackhobner and support this channel there. There's also a link to PayPal in the video description below where you can also support this channel. I thank you for your patience, and I'll see you next week.